Welcome back to another episode of Flying Brian's Garage. Or if you're new, welcome to an episode, as I should say. Today we have a little bit of a special video, or at least I have a special video planned out. And I'm probably sure y'all are noticing I'm not dressed like a hobo. And y'all probably want to mark that down, because it's not very often that I actually don't wear greasy clothes. But today I'm going to do a little other video on Lincoln, do a little walk around and tell y'all a little story about the car, and take y'all on a little drive. I was requested this video by a viewer of mine, and figured, you know, why not, I'll do it. Back's kind of hurting anyway, so I don't really want to be working too much today, so I figured, you know, why not. But I will give y'all a little sneak peek on what I've been working on. Yes, there's a window unit in the window, because, yeah, don't ask. But this is another project of mine. It's a 95 Dodge Caravan that I actually bought for a work van for 400 bucks. And it was a real shit box, but now it's not too bad. I decided to take it off the road as a work van and turn it into a camper van slash off-road type of thing. It's got a little bit of a lift on it. I am going to put some better tires on it and stuff like that, but this will actually be in another video soon. I've actually got to do a head job on this, but that's what I've been working on off camera. But on camera, we're actually going to go down here and check this town car out, let y'all see it, tell you what problems it has with it, so on and so forth. So that being said, let's get into the video. Alright, so there she sits. I can't remember if I said it was a 95 or a 97, but if I said it's a 95, then I stand corrected. It's a 97. I might have been talking about the van when I mentioned 95, but 97 Lincoln Town Car, Signature Series with the Presidential package. That package was put on by an aftermarket type place. When they had the car at the dealership, it originally had a darker red vinyl roof on it, but it was completely gone, so I had to improvise. It was done by Atlanta Auto Accessories, so I guess that's who did the package. But the package actually covers up the half window here. My door lock on this door is screwed up. This car still needs some work. Yeah, it's not coming up. I go to the other side. Sometimes that door wants to open, sometimes it decides it wants to be a pain in my rear end. See, it covers up the half window. That one actually still has its felt in it, but the other one has fell out, and you can actually see the light through the shell, which I will probably eventually get some red felt and refelt that. The interior of this car is really nice. It's still in really good shape. I mean, you'll see some of the wear on the seats. That's common, especially when a car has not been 100% taken care of its whole life. Sometimes the door decides it wants to ding, sometimes it don't. But you know, there's some cracking in the seats. Most of the seats are in really good shape, except for this spot right here, where it's starting to separate. And what I want to do is I want to get some some stitching and an upholstery needle and actually stitch that back up. But I've got to be careful, and I haven't done it yet because, see, alright, let's start from the beginning. This car is not just any car. This car is actually was my wife's dad's car. He bought this car, I'm not sure what year he bought it, but he was very proud of this Lincoln. Very proud of this Lincoln. I think this is probably one of the cars that I never really asked a whole lot about it, but I think this is probably the car he had wanted all his life. And he bought it and he drove it a couple years before he died. I actually just saw a picture of him standing by it today. Because today is actually, I didn't know this, but today is the 5th anniversary of him being gone. And a little disappointed because I would have liked to meet the man. He seemed like he was my kind of guy. But he really loved this car, very proud of this car. And it makes me happy that I was able to bring it back to something that is presentable. Because when I met my wife, she was driving this car, and this car needed some help. The driver door didn't open at all. She actually would have to crawl in from the passenger seat and slide over, and that's not really good on the seats. The hinge was messed up, so the door wasn't lined up right, and actually you can still see that it's not 100%. But I've straightened it up enough to where the door operates. The trunk, Lincolns and Cadillacs, and most people that are familiar with Lincolns know that the trunk actually sucks itself shut. Well, that feature was burned up on it. The motor was burned up. It would not operate, and the trunk had a gap. It would close and it would latch, but it wouldn't suck shut. So what I did was I went in there and I took the motor out of the gear, took a flathead and jacked the gear all the way down, and I kept having to, you know, tweak it. I'd put the gear back on the car without the motor in it and keep shutting the trunk and figure out where I needed to set it. And when I did, I locked the motor up and I rammed the motor back in it to lock the shit. So now the trunk just shuts normally, like you just shut the trunk and it's level. I don't need that fancy suck down shit. Yeah, I mean it's a luxurious car, and it's for people that don't want to put too much force on it. All you gotta do is close it, and it just, I don't need that. I just need my trunk to shut. So I bypassed the motor pretty much. I unplugged it. It will not operate. Even if it decides it wants to operate, it ain't going to because it's unplugged. And that's the way I like it. Other issue with this car is the ball joints. Most people that have Lincolns know that these front ends squeak like a son of a bitch. I have replaced tie rod ends, which were broke when I got a hold of it, and this car would lean and sway and go anywhere it wanted to go but where you wanted it to go. Now it's better, but I haven't got the ball joints yet. And see, I want to replace the control arms. I don't want to just replace the ball joints. I want to replace lower and upper control arms on this car. I haven't got the money to do it yet, and that's why she's not driving it to work. That's why I fixed aluminum and stuck my wife back in that, because this car is technically unsafe for the road. I still drive it, and I mean, I have been doing stuff to it. The pitman arm on the steering was completely shot. It was stock. I mean, it was gone. I replaced it. The tires are actually eating on the outsides, and that's the previous video if y'all saw me on this car. I actually flipped the tires around to keep them from completely just chewing it up. I'm trying to rotate them on the rim so it'll chew up the other sides. That way I don't have to rotate my rears, and I can just get two new fronts when I get the the front end done, but I can't get an alignment without getting the ball joints. So I'm in a little predicament right now. Another thing about this car, and I don't really like telling people about this is how I roll down my windows. Yep. Another common Lincoln problem. See, when I met her and I started to get a hold of this car, I fixed the door first. Car worked great. AC in this thing was kicking cold. Well, these windows were wired shut because the AC worked, the windows didn't work, they couldn't afford to get the windows fixed, so they wired them shut. Well, the AC went out in the car. And this was right before I got the AC fixed in the Lumina. And she couldn't ride in this hot vehicle before the top was white with the windows up. So I went in there in the door panels, cut the wires out so you can just manually put them up and down by hand, because the car's too hot to ride in with the windows up with no AC. Got to get a clutch for the compressor, of course. Something else that requires money. But the top was actually coming apart. It was bad. I mean, she'd come home some days and there'd be parts of it that had ripped in the wind, and it'd be all flopped up. Might have to just keep tearing parts of the roof off every day. I finally got sick of it and was like, we got to do a roof on this thing, because you can't keep driving this thing looking like a bum. I mean, she works at a school and I want her to look presentable. When you have a job and you roll up looking like you're about your business, people take you more seriously. So, I had to do something with the top. I just had to. Number one, I wanted to make it a cooler ride, because that red top just soaks in the heat, because everybody knows dark colors attract heat, light colors repel heat to an extent. My white van can sit in the sun, and the same sun that the red Lumina sits in, and that van is half as hot as the Lumina gets. So, I did white. I thought red would look good with white. And if anybody knows where that license plate right there came from, if you're an observant person and know what license plate that license plate is off of, what movie car, then you'll get why I painted the top white. Yeah, it's not the same red, it's not the same car, but that's one of the reasons I painted the top white. And I think it looks good. It was a very cheap alternative, because it is spray can. It's a spray job. It is, I'm sure you can tell in the video. Yes, it looks like a spray job up close. So what? I got that done for 50 bucks. I think actually cheaper. It still needs another coat, really. But I think I'm going to just run it the way it is, because the car is not perfect. I don't think I'm ever going to get it to look perfect. But I'm trying. The coating on the rims are coming off. On the fronts more than the backs. And I really want to get some paint and paint them. But I've also been thinking about getting some Grand Marquis wheels. Everybody calls them the Grand Marquis wheels. But I've been thinking about getting some of those, because they're about the same pattern. They just have a different offset. And I almost think that would look sharp on this car. But I'm also wanting to keep it original at the same time. So what I'm thinking about doing is refinishing these wheels and keeping these, but getting some Grandma Keith wheels, just for when I want to throw on her and make her, you know, look a little different for a while. Plus, it never hurts to have an extra set of wheels and tires around, because you never know what'll happen. So this car has the 4.6 liter V8 in it. It hauls ass. It's a very good engine. She's actually got It's kind of low mileage still. You'd expect this car to be over 200,000 and it's not. I think it's 160. $162, $143. Yep. Check air suspension lights on. Of course that is. And I will show you why. Because this one, I can't see. Yep, there we go. It's been converted. And I didn't know that. I always thought this car had air suspension. And I'm like, okay, well this thing rides great. And it does ride great. No, it's been converted. I didn't convert it. Her father, Mark, didn't convert it. So I'm guessing the previous owner before him converted it. And now I just need to get the light off on the dash. And we'll be good to go. It is missing little trim pieces here and there, like the trim that goes around the button switches on the seats. I did have to fix the door panel from falling off, and unfortunately it wasn't the right way to fix it, but I just ran a screw up in here in the bottom side. Of course your defrost vent, and they seem to come off. They break, the tabs break, so I had to super glue that back on. All in all though, this car is really clean. It's a really clean car. I really like this car. Damn door, gets on my nerves. The temperature, it don't matter if it's 110 degree weather. This is the best car I've ever had when it comes to a cooling system. And I'm not even really a big Ford fan. But there's something about this old Lincoln that just has me sold. That is one dependable engine right there. Probably the best I have. I mean, really, this car is just a truck drivetrain and a truck chassis on a car with a car body sitting on top of it. So, people say, well, you can't pull weight with your Lincoln. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. I know locksmith friends of mine have 4.6 V8s in their 250 E250 work vans. High mileage, still running, pulling all the weight of those keys. Tell me this car can't pull no weight, I beg to differ. Some people are just scared to put something behind it's the problem. Sweet, sweet car. It's got a dent in the fender that I need to pop out. I've actually got to take the fender off to get it out. And that's really the only imperfection, like body-wise, in this car. It's got some scratches. You know, it's a 97. It's not been taken care of half of its life. You can actually see the old top there. I haven't took that strip off yet and redone it, but that is the car. We will be taking this for a ride here shortly when it cools off, and I'm actually probably going to wait for my wife to get home from work, that way she can go with me, because I'm sure she's needing to get her mind off some things today, seeing that today's the anniversary of her father's death. But that's it. Here soon we will get to taking this thing on a ride, so I'll get back with y'all shortly. I got 211 miles on this thing, so I'm gonna drive all my gas out. Drive a little bit of it out, that'd be alright. Damn ants are still in here too. using our driveway again. Actually, we'll go the other way.
Other way, what way?
What way does that take?
To the right, it's shallow.
I'll probably end up turning around, but I just want to go into this bridge once. That shit is cool. I like that. I'm sure there's a place down here to turn around. Somewhere. Right there. That's cool. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that little video of the little show and tell. I sure enjoy that car. It's a nice cruiser. We just got back home, probably about a 40-mile drive. I had about 210 miles left in gas when I left, and I got about 170. So that's about 40 miles. But you know the drill. Go down there and hit that like button for me. At least if you like the video, go do it. Leave a comment down below if you got a question or just want to say anything in general. If you're into all that stuff, you can check out Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat. And my hands are a little full, but until then, see you guys on the next episode.